Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to the July or June edition of the Marketing Cloud User Group. I'm Jimson Lee, and we have Carrie Townsend on the call as well.
Hello.
Oh, okay, so let me share my screen. I think you can all hear me. Okay, good. I see people chatting here. Okay, let me just share my screen here and let's get started. Let me just, okay, perfect. Okay, we can start. So I'll start. So I guess those who don't know me, I'm Jimson Lee and I'm with CloudAnalysts, and we have Carrie Townsend on the call. Carrie?
Hi, so Carrie Townsend from Amber Star Consulting. I effectively just do freelance consulting, so that's my own company, but you can find me on Twitter at the handle Carrie Townsend.
Okay, great, thanks. I'll do my intro again later because I'll be speaking later, so I figured I'll save all my spiel for later. Okay, so today's agenda is very quick. We have only one talk, which is myself, and we're going to start with the usual PSA announcements, and we'll get right into the talk, and hopefully we'll have a good Q&A. I think the talk will produce a lot more Q&A than usual, so I think that's going to be great. And then hopefully wrap up by 8 o'clock. It shouldn't take too long, but we're here as long as we need to. Okay, so let's just start again, book of the month. One of our good friends, Greg Gifford, who also spoke at one of our meetups many months ago. He has finally come out with a book. I highly recommend it. I don't get any commission for this. It's a great book. It's finally good to have something hard and physical in your hands. The only other book I can suggest is the AmpScript Guide, but that one is also a hard book as well as a digital copy. You may find the digital one better for you anyway, because when you're working with AmpScript, it's better to look up, all the rules, all the syntax. So I find that better for reading. But definitely for this book, I highly recommend getting Greg's book. Okay, so we discussed this last month, and the summer release 22 is coming up. It's going through now until the 17th of June, or actually it's gone, but there's actually a good webinar coming up a bit later, which we'll post in the next slide. And we discussed all the latest updates for the next release. Nothing too exciting. However, always take a look at your email because there is the when the package, they're getting rid of some of the packages, some of the programs, the deprecation, and this month they're getting rid of the classic cloud pages. Finally, all the microsites are finally being stopped, and the deadline is June 30 for that. So I think that is more important than the new releases, but we can discuss that a bit later. And as I mentioned, tomorrow is the Marketing Cloud summer release options at 5 o'clock our time. You'll notice that there's always two. The Salesforce people give a talk 2 weeks earlier, and then the Marketing Cloud people give their talk, which is tomorrow. Okay, Carrie, I'll let you do next.
Yep, lovely, thank you. So I apologize for not being on video. I have a small trailblazer with me, and I think if she sees me on screen, things could go even a little bit more awry. So just to let you know, we shout out to some of the other groups that also meet in London. So our next group, we're looking to do hopefully a joint barbecue in August. So it should be a joint meetup. We're hoping it might be a barbecue or something outside, but that will be with the Pardot team. And then the Pardot team themselves are meeting independently on the 28th of June. The next London's Devs is on July 20th, and the London admins haven't actually announced their meetup yet, but it definitely will be July as they've done their June groups. And I don't know if anybody on the call actually went to some of the June meetings that happened really all around World Tour, but we'll come on to that. So Jimson, can you move the slides? Thank you. So I just wanted to touch on this. I don't know if anybody on the call actually was able to attend, but London's Calling was a it's probably coming up to a couple of weeks ago now. So it was on the 10th of June. It's a community conference. So that is a conference that's arranged by people in the community. It's volunteers using their time, which includes myself. We put this conference on every year. We've been doing it now for 7 years. So it was on the 10th of June. It was at the brewery. We had approximately 700 attendees. There were 53 sessions, of which 8 were MarTech. So that's a split between sort of Marketing Cloud and, again, Marketing Cloud, but what was Pardot, and also talks that are relevant in the space, such as, say, attribution, that sort of thing. There were 61 speakers. We had 28 ISVs and consultancies sponsoring. So it was it was lovely to be back in person. And I think on the day we had some good feedback. So I hope that everybody enjoyed it. The sessions are recorded and they will be available on our YouTube channel, but that won't be for a little while yet. We provide the content for our attendees so that they can view that for a while, and then we'll be able to make it all available on YouTube. If you are interested in finding out more, then go to londonscalling.net. You can sign up for the newsletter, and that will give you information about our next year's event. And Jimson. And then another event that I think you may have heard a reasonable amount about, or at least I hope you have, was London World Tour. So this was on the 16th of June. This was the first World Tour for a good couple of years. There was an in-person part, and also their keynotes were streamed more widely. So anybody that's familiar with World Tour will know that previously that's a really large event, which has somewhere between, I don't know, 7,000 and 10,000 people that usually attend at the Excel. This was a slightly smaller version, but to be honest, when you were in there, it still felt like, you know, there was a reasonable amount of people. I think they didn't have quite so many stands in the expo, which meant it felt like people had a bit more space. But I was able to attend in person, so I feel very lucky about that. I hope some of you on the call were also able to attend or able to watch online. There's keynote content for that online if you want to watch it to catch up. But just a shout out to Evaldas, who was the Golden Hoodie winner from Just Eat. So congratulations to him. They had special guests, and it was also hosted by Zara Barrialumi, who is the new CEO of Salesforce, and I think she did an excellent job. So hopefully some of you are able to attend that, and we look forward to next year.
Okay, I think that's it for the public service announcements. Okay, so now to the meat of the talk, and today I want to talk about the differences between Trailhead certifications and accreditations. You see on LinkedIn, everyone always showing off when they got a new badge, a new certificate, and rightly so. They're hard to get. Take a lot of time to study. So if you do want to brag about it on social media, that's fine. And this talk will give you an idea of what's out there, your approach, which is best, and we can do that in Q&A. So for those who don't know me, with CloudAnalysts, we're a rich tier Salesforce partner based in London and Brighton. And there I do mostly Marketing Cloud, CDP, or Customer Data Platform, and Datorama. And I've been lucky to work with all 20 products with Marketing Cloud, which means all the studios, all the builders, and all the different programs that make up the Marketing Cloud stack. There's about 21 of them. So I've been using Marketing Cloud, actually Salesforce since 2005 as a core user. I started ExactTarget in 2009, and I just happened to be around when they were acquired in 2014. Back in the days with Tequila. I think Will Turner and I were all there when all that happened. So this talk's a bit of a memory lane. So apologize if I sound like an old man talking about the good old days, but there's a little bit of that sprinkled. So I have quite a few certs and quite a few accreditations. I won't go into them. And as you know, outside of Salesforce, I give my time to World Athletics and the European Athletics Coaching Association. It's part of our ESG, where we give 1% of our time and money and effort into helping, in my case, third world countries and lower economic countries to help get to a level playing field in track and field or athletics. So that's what I like to do outside of Salesforce. So 3 things: Trailhead, certs, and accreditations. That's about it. That's all I want to talk about today. And everything starts with Trailhead. I think we all know that. Everyone should have an account at Trailhead. And the next slide, I will show a nice, pretty picture. But before we get there, I want to talk about certifications. So certs or certifications, you have to get an account with Web Assessor if you haven't done so. And those exams are usually 60 questions. Takes between 90 minutes or up to 2 hours, depending on the exam, and they cost between $200 to $400 US plus VAT, depending on the exam. If they are a domain architect exam, they're the more expensive ones, and if they're the entry ones, they're $200. And the reason why I say 60 plus is because now they start adding 4 bonus questions that don't count for your exam. So it's bad enough when you have 60 questions in 90 minutes, which is a minute and a half per question, but now you got 4 extra questions that won't count in your score. So that really throws you off. So definitely you have to study, and must be careful with these certs because they do expire and you have to maintain them in Trailhead. And they give you plenty of warning and emails. Make sure your Trailhead account is always active. And when it says you have to do your update, make sure you do it. I know personally people who have lost their certs because they didn't do their maintenance exam. So don't be one of those people. It's really painful and it's really embarrassing. And the other one is accreditations. And you've seen that on LinkedIn, maybe from my post. And it's a professional accreditation. It's only for partners, Salesforce registered partners that can get this. And I'll show you how to get there if you want. And that structure is a bit different. It's with Examity, and it's only 50 questions, not 60. It's only 75 minutes, so it's a bit quicker, a bit cheaper, 75 US, but these expire after 2 years. So like the Google certs, like Cisco, if you are any Cisco certified people out there, they do expire, and be careful. But I don't think it's a bad thing, and I'll get to that in a minute why. So Trailhead, I think everyone here, hopefully no one's a scout here. Hopefully when you sign in to Trailhead, you're a scout. You do 2 basic Trailheads for 100 points, one for GDPR and one for, what is Trailhead? How do you spell Trailhead? And that's 100 points. The holy grail here is the Ranger. I think if this was a live presentation, I would ask in the room, how many here are, Rangers? And you raise your hand. If you want, you can just raise your hand up, or raise your hand, or put in the chat if you're a Ranger. I'd like to call you out. Thank you. I know Carrie's one as well. Astrid is also a Ranger. Some people are double Rangers, which is a double the points. And I think there's even one guy, a triple Ranger, Ian Beshua from Tequila. He's also a triple Ranger, which means 300 badges and 150,000 points. So that's quite a commitment. But with Trailhead, there's one drawback with Trailhead. There is no dev org for Marketing Cloud. You get all these crazy animal style sandboxes like Silly Elephant or the happy goat, but you don't have a Marketing Cloud dev org or sandbox or training org with Trailhead. And that's the #1 pet peeve of everybody trying to learn Marketing Cloud. I think everyone in this call, if you're on this call, you're probably wanting to get a demo org or a trial org. But if you do, I got a couple ideas at the end of the slides, how to get access to it to learn more. So I won't get too much in Trailhead because I think everyone knows what it is. People brag when they hit a certain module, they put it on Twitter, they put it on LinkedIn, but that's fine. It means that you're committed to learn Salesforce, and I think it's great. Let me just say here. Okay, so certs, a bit of memory lane here. Back in 2013, when I started Tequila, there were really only 5 exams to really go for. There was what we call the Admin 201. I don't think it's called the number anymore. I think it's called Certified Administrator. but it was referred to as Admin 201 and Dev 401, Developer 401, which is really an irony because there is no development code, right? It's all clicks, not code. And that has now been changed to what they call Platform App Builder. So I think for any entry-level person, you really should get your Admin 201 or administrator and your Platform App Builder certs if you want to know or prove that you know Salesforce in some degree. Now, the other three that were popular were Advanced Admin, which is just Admin 201, on steroids, and the two consultant exams, and it'll be clear in a second. The Sales Cloud and Service Cloud exams were consultant exams. And this was what the picture was back in 2013, which is like 9 years ago. There were really only like 5 important ones, plus, Platform One and the CTA exam. But this was it. This was your picture of getting certified, 8 or 9 certs to go for. Now there's well over 30 certs in Trailhead or Web Assessor. Good luck. I know someone at one point had all the certs, including the CTA. Was one person I met, but now every day is a new cert coming out, from Velocity to Omnichannel to the Designer one. So I won't get into those. I just want to focus on Marketing Cloud today because this is a Marketing Cloud user group. So now there are 2 really basic entry exams to go for. One's called Admin 201 and one's the Email Studio for Marketing Cloud. Now, for me, when I hire anybody, it's like the high school diploma or the GCSE of Salesforce. You have to have one of them, one or the other, right? I mean, when you apply for a job, they don't ask you what your GCSEs were, or they don't ask you if you graduated high school. Some roles do, but in this case, I think you do need to get 1 or 2 just to show that you've done the exam, right? I think everyone here has passed high school, more or less, unless you're in the military, which is fine, but most people have passed high school, and this, to me, is the high school diploma. Now, a little known secret about these 2 exams is that, believe it or not, you can actually do a practice exam for $20 plus VAT, and you can do a full exam. I'm not sure if it's proctored with the camera or not, but the full 60 questions, 90 minutes, the 4 silly bonus questions, and you can do this for only $20, and no one will ever know. You can sign up with your Hotmail account and do it, and then when you pass it, you can do it officially with your real account. But these 2 exams are buried deep in the Web Assessor order form when you want to do an exam. So highly recommend, if you want to get certified and you're not certified in these 2, and you don't want to spend $200 plus VAT doing it, just simply do a practice one and keep it quiet if you don't pass it. But remember, these practice test scores don't necessarily represent the true certification. So if you pass it, you may fail a real one, and conversely, if you fail the practice, you may pass a real one. So take it with a grain of salt. So hopefully this was helpful. Highly recommend you look into this. Can't lose for $20. Okay, and finally, I won't get into this. There's the Salesforce developer user group that you can get into. The holy grail of Salesforce is the CTA, the Certified Technical Architect. And when I joined Tequila, I only knew 2 CTAs in the world. That was Wes Nolte and Mark Kane from Newcastle. Those are the only 2 guys I knew. Today we have, I can name you 20 people. Several are good friends of mine who actually got the CTA exam, and I congratulate them. It's the PhD of Salesforce. It's the one where you have to do a board exam and a Q&A where they grill you questions, months and months and months of preparation. And like I said, I commend anyone who does this. It's a tough cookie. However, the reason why I point this out is that it used to be just one exam, the admin exam, and then you do your CTA. Now they force you to do these 7 or 8 other exams, and they're the domain exams. They're a bit more expensive, like $400 versus $200. If you fail, don't fail too often. And these domain architect exams, like the data architect or the integration architect, those exams are important because in another slide, we're going to see the bottom half of these triangles, why they're important. So keep an eye on some of these exams on the lower half of the pyramid. It is important. But this, like I said, anyone who's a CTA, my hat's off to you. You got a job for life in Salesforce or in any consultancy. That's my opinion. We can discuss that after in the Q&A. Okay, so I'm going to talk, hang on, where's this one here. When you log into Trailhead, this is the first thing you see. You'll notice that it's either by role or by product. And when I say by product, I mean all the fancy products that they've been acquiring over the last few years, like Slack, Tableau, Datorama eventually, and MuleSoft. But what I want to focus on today is the 6 roles they have in the bottom. And I'm going to focus on the marketer role. Now, the consultant role is also important, but let's just focus on marketer because there's a lot of overlap in these roles here. I mix up here. Okay, so there are really 6 marketing certs, and 4 are Marketing Cloud and 2 are Pardot. And Pardot has been renamed to MCAE, Marketing Cloud Account Enablement, or McKay as I call it. But let's just focus on these 4 and these 2. So I'm going to do a bit of memory lane here and talk about the 4 Marketing Cloud ones. Now, in crazy order, I'm going to start with the email specialist on the bottom right. So this was the very first exam to come out. And this is the one I talked about being $20 for the trial exam. And this one here, I think anyone who does a bit of studying, and maybe you don't need access to any demo org. You can actually pass this exam today or tomorrow by reading up on all the rules of data extensions. And if you have a good base of marketing, you can pass this. Like, for example, like what's the best way to increase your sales? And one is to buy a list. Well, you don't buy a list. Or let's say which one is not compliant. And then you have CAN Spam Act. The footer of the email has to have a full address and an unsubscribe button. So really, the Marketing Cloud Email Specialist, or Email Studio that I called it, I think it's the straightforward exam, a bit of studying to do with data extensions, and no need to get a demo org. So that's that one. Then came along, I think the year 2016, I just left Tequila, and the Marketing Cloud Consultant exam came out. Now, this one here was a fun one because Salesforce came out, they came to me and said, Jimson, no one's taking this exam because it's not popular. So there was a little contest to see who can get it first. And I remember I was in a battle with, I think he's now with Salesforce. His name is Ken Wagner, Capgemini guy who went to work for Wonderman, now he's working for Salesforce. And we were battling out to see who can pass the exam first. And it's a tough exam because it's all scenario questions. Now, remember I said 60 questions, 90 minutes, but when your questions are this long, when you got to scroll on your laptop for the questions, you're in trouble because you got a lot of reading. And if English is not your first language, good luck with this exam. You can request more time if your English is not your first language, which is fine, but it's a tough exam to pass. There's a lot of scenario questions. And if you haven't worked with Marketing Cloud, I find it almost impossible. I know people who haven't had Marketing Cloud org access and they passed it, but that's either they have a lot of studying or they bought old exams, they got old dumps and they just memorize questions. But there's a lot of tricky scenario questions here. And it always comes down to 2 answers and they're both really good. But if you reread the question, there's a reason why one is a better answer. But don't forget, 60 questions, 90 minutes. And if you spend too much time, you're finished. So time management and that one. Now, unfortunately, Ken beat me to the exam. He passed the exam a day before I did. But he was based in the Nordics area and I was based in England. So in the EU side, he won, but since UK is no longer part of EU, so I guess I'm the first official UK person to pass this exam, and that was 2016. So a little bit of history there. But I think a bit of competition helps. I think you need a buddy. You need somebody to work with. If you're trying to do these exams, don't do it alone, especially CTA. Definitely don't do that alone. You're in a world of hurt. Find somebody, buddy up, and any one of these exams, buddy up, test each other, share your knowledge, share links, share videos. And this one was tough. I didn't pass the first time. That's how tough it was. So that one was tough. And then after we had the Marketing Cloud Developer exam, and that came out not too long ago. Now, a while back, 2017, I gave a talk to the London Developer User Group, and I explained not about this exam, but what skill sets do you need to be a good Marketing Cloud developer? And it comes down to 5. You have to know 5 programming languages to do Marketing Cloud really well. You need SQL, you need AmpScript, which is a proprietary language of Marketing Cloud. You need REST API, SOAP API, and you need server-side JavaScript. Those 5 questions are on the exam. Actually, just 6. There's actually HTML. There's actually an HTML question on an exam. So 6 programming languages just to pass that exam. And it's a tough one because you have to know a lot about all those languages. But when someone says they pass that exam, I can say, yes, you are fluent in programming, or you're a good developer. They can maybe not design a nice email template, but it doesn't matter. They can program AmpScript, or they can program. So that's that exam that I took. And the last one came out after was the Marketing Cloud Administrator. It was kind of a hybrid between the email and the consultant. They sort of made it, they made these 2 exams into 3 exams, and a bit of data extensions, a bit of flows, a bit of everything. That one wasn't too hard to pass. Again, when I talked about the last Trailhead picture, what's your role? Are you an administrator or are you a consultant? And the administrator is config work. How do you do a file transfer? Data extract. Whereas consultant one, it's all scenario questions. So if you're a consultant and you are doing a workshop and you get thrown into a discovery, you better ask the right questions. Like where's your database of record? Where's your single source of truth? You have 5 databases. Which one is the right person? So these are kind of questions you got to bring out, and that's why I felt the consultant one was tough. But all these 4 is what comprise of the Marketing Cloud stack as we know it. Pure Marketing Cloud, not Datorama, not CDP, not Journey Builder, just the Marketing Cloud stack. Give me 1 second. I know I may be going a bit fast for many people, but we can have a Q&A after. I'm happy to answer any question, but I just got about 10 more slides to go through. And next is the Pardot, which is now called Marketing Cloud Accounting Enablement, MCAE. So this one here, it's not part of Marketing Cloud, it's part of the marketers, which is why our user group is called the London Marketer, user group, Marketing Cloud in brackets. We'll see if our name's going to get changed again, right, Carrie, in the next little while. But for now, Pardot is a bit different than Marketing Cloud, but who knows if it's going to be embedded in our ecosystem. But just briefly here, I know I don't want to steal the thunder of people in the Marketing Cloud user group, but the consultant exam came out first, and then the specialists came after when they realized that there was just way too much to learn, or you can't know both. So they made one, again, the consultant scenario-based, and then specialist, the config. And again, another bit of memory lane, and I know Will's in the call. So this was 2015, back at Tequila in that, Smithfield's upper floor. And, we were asked, who knows Pardot? And then there was a little competition to see who can get this first. And I think I got it first. And I got it before Ben Edwards, believe it or not. And then Astrid got it before Ben as well. But the beauty about this exam was that Pardot wasn't really well known in 2015, and Astrid and I were like the top 30 people in the EMEA practice to get certified back in 2015 for this exam. So we've been doing Pardot a long time, and then as well we have the Pardot specialist came after. Again, if you want to know more about Pardot, I think you should join the Pardot user group. That's next Tuesday. I guess I should put that in the PSI slides, but if you want to know more about Pardot, just go to Trailblazer like you did here and join the London user group. And they should be on site this Tuesday. None of the shenanigans that we had on this call. So enough of Pardot. Now, The next one is the architect ones. Now, everybody wants to be an architect for some reason. I don't know what it is, but the word architect seems like the catchphrase of, of the millennium or of the COVID. Now, there are two types of architect exams, and one's a B2B and one's B2C. Now, the B2B one is, as you know, B2B, Pardot. It has a bit of Pardot knowledge that you need to know, but it also focuses on a product called Cloud Craze, which was the shopping cart for B2B. And that's in the exam, as well as CPQ. If you're doing B2B sales, you want to have CPQ in your repertoire. You want to know, if you order a Dell laptop, do I sell them an Apple charger? No, you want to sell them a Dell charger, right? Do you want a 3-year warranty? Upsell them to 5-year warranty. All that kind of stuff is CPQ. That B2B is that exam, and I'll go through the prerequisites in a second. The B2C one, as you can tell, it's more marketing cloud focused. It is Service Cloud connector, and it has the Commerce Cloud as well. So that's the triangle that you need to know for B2C architect exam. It's the Service, Marketing Cloud, and Commerce Cloud. And the next slide will show you some of the prerequisites that you need for those exams. Now, the B2B one, it's the left side of the application architect cert to do that, on top of learning Pardot, on top of learning CPQ, as well as Cloud Craze. And that's the data architect, the sharing exam, platform dev one, and platform app builder, which is really crazy because I don't think you need to know platform developer to do that exam. I don't know why you need to be a master of Apex to write that, but that's not. This is from Trailhead, from the source. Now, the B2C one, it's a bit not easier, but all they ask you for is the integration architect exam plus platform app builder, which is Dev 401 on steroids, and that's it really. So both are doable. I don't know many people who have this exam, and I invited the person who had it, but he didn't attend. But it's a good challenge. And I know this came out in May 2000, just in the heart of the pandemic when it started. The person leading this is no longer there with Salesforce, but this is a tough one. And again, I think at one point, I think Carrie had a user group or a study group of people. If you want to go for these or the B2C one, the marketing cloud focus one, contact Carrie after my talk, and we can talk about what it takes to pass that exam. So I don't have either one of these exams right now, just to let you know. I don't have those two. It's on the works, but I'm missing some of the prereqs, which is why I don't qualify for the exam. And when you go to Web Assessor, you can't write an exam if you don't have the prereqs, right? It knows who you are. So it's on the list. And that's the B2B architect exam. Now, there are 3 last honorable mentions that I think for marketing, if I was to hire somebody or if I want to do, and that's the JavaScript one, JavaScript developer one. That one I think would help for marketing cloud, especially if you're doing a lot of server-side JavaScript. And I haven't done this yet. I have no intention of doing it, but if you do want to test your JavaScript skills, go for that one. And then the last 2 on the right are the Commerce Cloud ones. They have a developer one and an architect one. I don't want to dwell too much on it because very few people use Commerce Cloud. And if you do want a talk on Commerce Cloud, I can get someone to talk about that. But these are some other exams that you can go for. And the danger with marketing cloud, any of these certs, is that if there's not popular, they'll yank them, right? I've lost 2 certs in the last little while, right? I did Social Studio, which is now taken off the market. So it's retired now. And I've done Dev 401, which is also retired. So you can have your certs today, but don't be surprised later that they get rid of it or something. So that's the 3 honorable mentions. Okay, accreditation. We're almost done here, actually. So accreditation. So sadly, I don't know who in this call, but sadly, you have to be a registered partner of Salesforce to have access to the partner learning camp. .salesforce.com. If you're not a registered partner, find somebody who has access to these exams, to these trial exams, videos, study guides. And this is where you get your accreditation. Now, the thing is, these exams, in my opinion, may become full certifications down the road, because back in 2015, back at Tequila, we did an email studio and a journey builder exam, and we wrote it and we passed it in a classroom. You had to go to a classroom to write it. And those exams were the precursors of what we know today with, advanced cross-channel, as well as the email studio exam. So these, and what I'm trying to say is that, like, Datorama, it was its own accreditation separately away from Salesforce. Now it's part of this stack, Datorama. And then I wouldn't surprise me if 1 year from now, Datorama will be a full certification. And I think, Will Turner can help me here, but when Einstein came out first, there were accreditations, right? They were separate away from the certification web assessor exams, right?
Yeah. That's right. There were accreditations before the Einstein Analytics and Discovery Consultant.
Exactly, and then later. Yeah. So I wouldn't get too hung up on these accreditations for now. The training's not bad. It's a bit better in Trailhead, but you got to be a registered partner to get access to them. And I think if you're going to do any of these four, I think CDP is probably a good one to go for, as well as advanced cross-channel. If you do a lot of journey builder work, if you do a lot of email studio, mobile push, SMS kind of work, and also if you're working with Interaction Studio, which is now called Marketing Cloud Personalization. So any of these four on my slide here is available if you want to know more about getting accredited. And I think on January, I wrote the CDP exam and I passed it, as you can see on the slide. And it was a hard one again, and I'll explain to you why it's hard on the next slide. But yeah, don't be surprised that CDP will be a full exam in a year's time, or any one of these three. So just quickly, I just did this just to give you an idea. On the CDP exam, 50 questions. Here's the breakdown. And in my talk at London's Calling, so if you haven't seen the London's Calling talk, when it gets put up, I actually go through scenarios of all 7 of these. I actually discuss quickly in my 25 minutes. I talked about, data ingestion, modeling, identity resolution. I gave like real use cases from my past projects, segmentations, activations, and you can see the breakdown of how many questions. But again, you take the exam guide, you see where you're strong, great, you see where you're weak, study more. And so this one was a tough one because you really have to know CDP to pass this exam. And yeah, so because I worked on a couple of CDP projects, it was not bad, but still you have to do a bit of studying. And again, it's all about time management when you're doing exams, right? Clock is ticking. So that's the CDP accreditation exam. And then my last slide here, this is the good one for discussion. If everything what I said is interest you, hopefully everyone's still awake here, and you want to do more other than Trailhead, then I think there are many, many ways you can learn and get certified or accredited. And one obviously is get a mentor. If you have someone in your company who's a CTA, for example, then great, go ask him or her. But the Trailblazer community, which is the old chatter groups, the first place to go to learn more. Just be careful. There are 2 of them. There is the regular one for everybody, and then there's a partner one, partner Trailblazer community. So when you sign up, you may not have access to all of them. There are paid courses from Salesforce, very expensive. And when you do that, you actually get a trial work for like 60 days. So if you take the email studio course, you can actually get a trial work. And they used to be held in their Staines office near Kingston, but that office is shut down. So I don't know where that office is anymore. Maybe they're virtual. But if you do want to take a paid course, they are available. The third point is free courses or boot camps. Salesforce always gives boot camps, or enablement. That's the keyword they use. It's not enough to pass, because I took the developer enablement and I went through the class, but they fly through everything in one day. There's no way you can learn everything one day, especially the developer exam, right? So just watch out. There are some free courses that are given on boot camps. And then private classes, right? CloudAnalysts. I mean, we've given private classes in both Pardot and Marketing Cloud to corporate clients. That's what we do as well. And then there's some meetups. Not our meetup, but I know like the Phoenix meetup, they're having multi-part boot camps. In fact, I think Gilda Hilaire, she's based in Boston, but she's one of our ambassadors or our evangelists for Marketing Cloud, and she organized a 9-part boot camp on a user group that once a week they do one topic for Email Studio. So on every Wednesday, 3 o'clock, they talked about data extensions, and the next one unsubscribe. So they did that as part as the boot camp. So that's also another one to attend to. Very, very, very generous. These people, experts around the world, give their time and try to help write a course module for these. And last but not least, we have paid books. I mentioned Greg's book. I mentioned the AmScript guide. There aren't many good ones, but these two are tops in my list. And that's it, really. Questions and answers. Should I close the screen share, because otherwise no one sees anybody when they speak here. I'm just gonna stop the share for a second, unless I'll leave it on, because it might be a slide that we want to talk about. Okay, so thank you if you made it this far. I hope I didn't get you too worked up or too scared or too paranoid, but that is Trailhead certifications and accreditations, excuse me, in a nutshell. So hopefully you have an idea of where and how to get these certs. Okay, so maybe Carrie, I don't know if you're available, but maybe help me moderate here. Any questions? Because my throat is dying here.
I am still here. Again, okay. I do have a small trailblazer that does not want to go to sleep. So there may be some volume issues. We'll see. Okay.
So questions. I'm sure there's some questions. If you can either speak or you can type it in the chat, either one, or else everybody wants to go home and study. But I'm happy to answer any questions, any tips, anything you want to know about all these certs and accreditations and how to get access, how to get resources. Yeah, anybody have questions? So if you were live, I would ask it, okay, how many people have this exam? And you raise your hand. Okay, how many people have this exam? And I congratulate you. So that's what this talk was better if it was a live environment, but yeah, it is what it is. And I hope you have a bit more clarity on what to do next. Okay, we have a question. Yes, great. Let's start with you, Anirban Mitra.
Hi. Am I audible?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah, the main reason why I chose to join the session, because I wanted to know more about the architect exams. So if I tell a little bit about my background of finishing, of my certification. So I've kind of completed all the Marketing Cloud level certifications, a consultant, admin, developer, email specialist, all of that. And then I actually ventured into proper Sales Cloud, where I completed the admin and the platform of builder. So I was hoping to go into the architect track, and then I was a bit confused about the sole purpose of B2B and B2C solution architect, because the documentations were not very elucidate for me to apprehend what is it about. So according to, from your expertise, what do you suggest, what is the correct track to move ahead, and what should be the next few certification exams for us to take, for people like me to go ahead with?
Okay, I can answer, and I think Carrie can help out after.
Yeah, I can add some more.
Okay, so basically, if you like Marketing Cloud, obviously you go for the B2C Architect exam. That's the right path, because the B2B, it's nothing about Marketing Cloud. So B2C, you need just email specialists, but you're really going to need Service Cloud a bit of Commerce Cloud, and of course Marketing Cloud. Yes, no, the connector, like all about connector.
You need the integration exam. You need the Salesforce integration exam, which is, I think, a sticking point for quite a few people. So if you've spent most of your time living in Marketing Cloud and you've spent some time connecting with Salesforce,
That's right.
then if for some people, then having to understand all the different ways that you can integrate with the core Salesforce platform can be quite a big leap. I mean, and I've used Salesforce for like 10 years, and the sticking point for me is the integration exam, which I've taken a couple of times, but have never quite passed. So that's when, so I did lead a study group where we had a group of people that were interested in working towards that exam. And some of them had the prerequisites and some of them didn't, which included myself. And one of my takeaways from that study group is that it really is, in my opinion, after going through that, quite important to have all the prerequisites before you start. Only because if you haven't already got the integration exam, by the time you're layering on top all the other knowledge that you need for the architect exam, it all starts to blur a bit into one. It's just quite a high volume of knowledge to have. I'd also ask, in terms of what you're working on practically on a day-to-day basis, what are you applying? So are you working for an organization that has a B2C or a B2B focus?
It's more of a B2C focus, and my role with the advancement of time, I started off like a Marketing Cloud developer, but now going to the lead level, I'm more involved in, I mean, though I'm like my core working skill still sits within Marketing Cloud, but I am actually being involved in the discussions where, you know, Marketing Cloud and Salesforce are being integrated with external platforms. For example, AWS, MuleSoft, Salesforce Industries. So to provide a composite solution end to end, that is where, you know, my job profile or my job role is taking me.
Okay, so then definitely B2C, and definitely look at the Salesforce integration exam. Like, just look at the study guide and see where you are, because they've recently updated that exam to take into consideration all the new developments around integration, and it's now much more platform event heavy, which
the
is
integration architect exam.
Pardon?
You mean the integration architect exam?
Yes, the Salesforce integration architect exam has much more of a focus now on platform events, because that's the way that they're, you know, that's the newest developments and the way that they want to be people building solutions moving forward. So once you have that, then you can start to look at the B2C content. Now there is content focused on that in the partner learning camp, which admittedly most people, like a lot of people, aren't partners, but they have made that available, it is publicly available. So there is a blog post on Trailhead which tells you how to get access to that. We started doing that as part of the study group, and it's very wordy and verbose. And it repeats itself a lot, and it talks a lot about how from a consulting point you would approach that. So that's making sure you've got stakeholder alignment, how you would stagger all of that. And I think what people realized when they then went on to take the exam is that quite a lot of the content that's in the partner learning camp isn't in the exam at all, right? So the exam is predominantly focused on more of the technical side. So if you are looking to get the certification and you're thinking about what resources you spend your time looking at, go to the solution guides that are in the help, which give you an opening blueprint about how you do certain things. So abandoned basket, I can't remember, some of the focus around orders and how you fulfill orders and how it touches across multiple platforms. That's where you will find the content that you want to spend most of your time with. If you are in an organization that's using Commerce Cloud, you definitely have an advantage because there is a connector. You need to understand the connectors. and they are, apart from with Marketing Cloud Connect, so connecting Salesforce and Marketing Cloud, it's a package, right? You install it, it does what it does. You can't really extend it. You can't really do anything else with it. You learn it, it does what it does. You need to know that. With the other sort of packages that allow you to connect the clouds, they're all API led, and it's effectively like a package of written blocks of code. It has a much nicer name for that. I just can't remember it for the moment, but it's effectively a starting point. So you don't, if you are living with those in the real world, you take those and they're a starting point, and then you build things on it. So you might need to build different languages onto it, or you might need to build different, I can't remember what they're called now in Commerce Cloud. I apologize. I've been on mat leave for over 6 months, and still the language is not as close to me as it used to.
That's all right. I mean, I can do the reading.
Yes.
But
so there's solution guides.
Okay, but shouldn't PD1 be finished first before we move to integration architect?
Yes. Okay. Fair point. Yes. PD1 first, then integration architect, because you can't do one without the other, I don't think.
Yeah.
And then, but my top tip would be, don't think that trying to skip ahead and learn the B2C stuff before you've really at least passed the exam, because it's quite a lot, and you can't get any further until you've passed it.
I would probably go for like PD1 first, and then
Yes.
set down with PD1 and then proceed for integration architect.
Yes. Yes. But your job role fits gives you a strong advantage. Like as Jimson said, the architect's exams, there's a lot of words, right? So it takes quite a long time to just read them, right? Before you even get to, do I know the answer to this? And if you're using that language, having those conversations on a day-to-day basis, making those decisions, then it will make that much more straightforward.
Oh, all right. Yeah, got it. I mean, if you're dropped into the ocean, you either drown or you sail through. So sailing on. Maybe a little bit of scrabbling around, but then gliding on the surface is what we're after.
Yeah, it's
Thank
a
you
lot.
so much. Thank you.
No, it's a lot. I know the partner learning camp for that was like what, 430 hours. You know how they
it's a lot.
Yeah, it was,
and a lot of it's repeated.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is difficult to work out which bits you really need to, like, what's new.
Yeah.
And
tough one.
It's a lot.
Wish you luck. And like I said, if we do set up another study group, we'll make sure that you're invited. Definitely get you invited as well. But yeah, definitely a lot of scenario-based questions, and a lot of it comes from experience. But you can probably study it too. But still, a lot of fun. Okay, we got like another 7 minutes. Any more questions regarding certs? Is there anything anybody wants to take a cert, go for a stab? How to get free vouchers, all that kind of stuff, coupon codes? Nobody? Or did I just make everybody?
Yeah, really, this session is very helpful to me because I am planning to do the admin as well as the dev, marketing cloud dev and admin certifications. I am doing the great preparation using Trailhead and YouTube videos, and this session will give me the good insights. Gave me good insight of the certification. Yeah, I'm definitely looking for the vouchers.
Yeah, great. Thanks. I'm glad it can be helpful. Like I said, it does help to have access to a marketing cloud org when you're doing the exams, but I know people who have passed it without even touching marketing cloud. But I know when you use it day to day, the exams, I find they're straightforward because you've seen it. You can visualize, what a filter data extension is, and you know what they're talking about. But it's possible. Like I said, I'm not going to deter you or discourage you from doing any of these. Like I said, the only thing I can say about the architect exams is that it's 400 US plus VAT, so it's 480 for us in UK. That's a lot of money to fail an exam. That's a lot of money, 480 American dollars. Danilo, welcome. Haven't seen you for a while. You have a question.
Hi, Jimson. Yeah, was wondering more about those study group you mentioned before. How yeah, just general information about that. I want to maybe join. It depends what's about and so on.
Carrie, that's
Yeah,
Carrie's.
so, yeah. So a group of us that whittled down to a reasonably small number went through some of that last year. It has, as it's stood, taken a bit of a pause because I've been on mat leave. But as I highlighted, some of the key points around that were understanding that the prerequisites are important. So I don't know, do you already have those? All of those for the B2C architect?
No, I need to
Yep.
start from. I'm talking more about other certifications, like consultant or I never focused on certifications. So yeah.
So again, thinking about what you do in a day-to-day job, whether it's being a consultant or an admin, and picking out the ones that are easy, like the ones that are most applicable to your job role will be the ones that are most easiest. That's pretty obvious. If you're talking about doing the marketing, the email specialist, I don't know if you already have that.
No, I was planning to do that, but I've been so busy. So
no, that's understood. So Salesforce periodically do a boot camp on that, right? So they do it's 5 hours worth of content that they deliver every few months. And it's all delivered, I think, in one go. It's 4 or 5 hours. And then after that, they offer a discount on the certification for those that complete the whole thing. So if anyone's asking me about doing that, sir, I'd be like, that's the route that I would take in order to go through that one. As Jimson said, if you have access to the org, then the next one would be admin. And
you'll be I don't think for email specialist I would need much support, but for consultant or admin and developer, probably I'll need to get more knowledge, more understanding of what's required.
The boot camp is useful if you have to pay for your certs, because then they'll give you a discount on the email specialist one, even if you just show up for some of it and then show up for the bit at the end where you get the cert voucher. Then in terms of looking at the administrator, if you're in the tool day in, day out, then administrator may be quite sort of straightforward if you're touching on all sorts of things. It's things like, how many, I think one of them was, when I did it, was how many characters is the FTP password need to be, or things like that. So if you're in the tool, there's also some stuff about troubleshooting, which would be very difficult to learn from, say, the help or things like that. But if you're in the tool, that should, they're things that you will have come across and maybe banged your head against a wall with for a period of time. But it's definitely worth checking out. I think it's on YouTube. SMFC Trailblazers, right? They have run a couple of, as Jimson said, boot camp courses where they've done sessions over a number of days.
I've seen something. Yeah.
So I've not viewed them, but that would be where if I was doing it, that's where I'd be going as a starting point.
And the study groups you've been doing more about.
So that was B2C Architect. It was the B2C Architect. And it was because much of that was around the fact that when the exam came out, I had just left working as a partner with a partner. And because a lot of that content was on Partner Learning Camp, I was looking to get a group of like-minded people together who weren't necessarily all at partners and go, okay, we're also interested in this. How might we tackle it?
That's fine. Thank you. That's enough, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, they're, like I said, they're all good questions, but you have to study, right? Like,
Yeah.
you just have to memorize the help and training, like from bounce management to, file extracts to, FTP exports. I mean, it's all that stuff. But like I said, it's doable, right? Anybody can do it. Just gotta study for it, and that's it. Okay, we're on the hour. One last question before we go? Like I said, you can reach us on Trailhead. You can reach us on email if you're interested in trying to get any of these exams out. Just reach out to us, and we're happy to point you in the right direction. And yeah, and good luck to anyone trying to pass these. On that note, Carrie, you want to close up anything we have to close up our session with?
No, just look out on the community and the Twitter handle, and most predominantly LinkedIn, to be honest, when our next meeting might be.
Yeah, same here. I'm on LinkedIn as well. And I think the next meetup is most likely going to be the last week of August. It's going to be a joint barbecue with the Pardot user group, which is the Marketing Cloud Account Enablement group. And they're going to be joining us hopefully last week of August, hopefully not on a holiday. We're taking a break in July, I think. I think everyone's on holiday, and who knows how many more strikes we're going to get this summer anyway. So, hope for, plan for the worst and hope for the best, right? That's what we can do. So on that note, again, thank you, everyone. Thank you for being flexible. I apologize for those who had to travel, like Jonathan and Steve. Steve Mary started traveling, but the news that we got was out of our control. And I hope we'll meet in person soon. But until then, next meetup, and thanks for joining us. I see, Steve's on the call here. Steve Mary's on the call. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Lovely. See you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Katie. Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm just gonna stop the recording.